Titterpigs, oh yeah. They're gonna talk about sweet, sweet RPGs. And it's the Titterpigs, the RPG podcast. Am I getting paid for this one?
Hey listeners, welcome back to another episode of Titterpigs. This is episode number 5. Oh wait, shit. No, it's episode 50.
Hello, Scott from the future here. It is actually episode 60. I'm going to go ahead and blame the fact that we were still recovering from ChaosiumCon as to our mistake, not the alternative fact that Keith and I are slowly losing our mental capabilities as we get older. This will not be the last time that our brain pans become discombobulated with facts regarding the convention. And as always, I blame Keith.
I got to turn my note card around.
Yeah.
So we are at episode 50. We are a half a century old, Scott. Holy shit, do I feel every bit of that episode 50 vibe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, it's
you
time
look
to start.
it.
Thank you. It's
Love
it's
you, buddy.
It's good to know that I recovered fully from our trip to ChaosiumCon. But yeah, no, it's about that time in human years where you need to start making some phone calls, scheduling things, wondering, what works and what doesn't. Yeah, and it involves, certain prescriptions, be they blue or whatever.
Are you alluding to my hair? Is that what you're alluding to?
Yes, the hair. Anyways, yes, and
don't make me laugh with a mouthful of beer.
Oh yeah, and it being episode 50, it's kind of nice to also have a somewhat special episode, as this one is going to be our recap of our visit to ChaosiumCon, which was also our first visit to ChaosiumCon. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of walk you through.
I heard the rumor mill that it was that according to the crew, it's our last. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, well, I mean, I told them to send you the email, so you can blame me for it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I better look for it. Yeesh.
Yeah. They said there's enough blue hair there. They don't need another one. So
wow,
you're late to the party, my alternative friend. So, but no, it's nice to finally meet get to a certain milestone in our podcast. We've been doing this for years, but it is also extra special to have it be a somewhat special episode. Kind of, a little late, but Chaosium still seems to be celebrating their own 50th anniversary as it rolls into their 51st year. And it is very evident they're not ready to stop. So,
no, they're not. They're just cranking out stuff.
Oh God,
it's like they're 25 again.
I know. It's they're single. They lost some weight. They're looking good. The clothes are fitting again, and they're ready to go. Take it back down onto the disco floor. I guess. Is that how you date these days? I wouldn't know. But anyways, we're segueing as we do. ChaosiumCon, our first one. This was definitely an experience, and so let's walk through it just day by day. We'll hit the highlights and kind of see what we can cover.
There's lots of highlights.
But speaking of highlights, day one started with a literal bang. Well, not a bang, more a shot.
well, hold on. So before we get to the shot of our introduction to ChaosiumCon, so let me frame this for listeners. Scott and I, we get from the airport, we take an Uber over out of Detroit over to Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor. We get to our hotel. We're staying off property. We walk the barely 10 minutes over to the host hotel.
Yeah.
And we come over the little ridge from the rough of the golf course, and who do we see out there hanging out in front of the host hotel, is our good friend, Seth Skorkowsky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. So that's how we started our ChaosiumCon, hanging out with the high-speed, low-drag Seth Skorkowsky. Yet again.
Yeah.
Seems to be a theme with our conventions.
Yeah, and Seth, was feeling good. He obviously had been there for some time before us, and we
had some
soon
catching up to do, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, we were soon swept in through the doors and right into the lobby where a group of other people that we know were there. There was Doc Cowie and some other people who we not necessarily met, but they treated us like we were a long lost friend.
We were like family, and then we all became fast friends for the entirety of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And as you do with a long lost friend who you haven't seen in a while, you ask them, are you hungry or are you thirsty? Now, food was not offered, but libations were. There was. So yeah, we were told, well, hey, there's a table here. You need to have some shots of bourbon. And of course, we may have said, no, that's okay, not right now. And then, nope, there was no choice.
Our voices said no, our heads said yes.
Yes, there you go. And soon we were pushed to the head of the line of other people waiting. And we were provided 4 shots from a local distillery that was providing tasting samples of their bourbon. All very good. I don't recall them all.
I got 3. I got a cherry whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I got a rye.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did I get? Was it a bourbon or a scotch? I can't remember.
I think it was a bourbon.
Okay.
But yeah, so it literally right in through the front door and drinks were had.
Oh,
and
yes.
That kind of set the tone for day one of ChaosiumCon.
No, that set the tone for the next 4 days.
Well, off and on, yes, off and on. But so yeah, we made the rounds. Everyone was kind of there's a large lounge area where there's a bar and sitting areas. It's your typical kind of larger Marriott style hotel. So plenty of room, plenty of seating spaces. It wasn't necessarily packed, but there was a good crowd. And I thought that in the beginning, this was the meet and greet, because that evening there was a meet and greet that was flagged for everyone. But no, this was just kind of like the pregame. This was the tailgate party.
Very much a impromptu, people hanging out on their own accord, just chilling and vibing and getting to know each other.
Right. It was introductions of new people to the con like us. It was people who have known each other for some time saying hello. People who only know each other either as, talking heads on actual plays or podcasts or YouTube channels, seeing each other for the first time physically and old and good fast friends, along with, with the Chaosium leads and community managers such as, Bridget and the others that are there. And yeah, you were instantly swept into a very welcoming and warm situation that got warmer with every round of drinks that you either bought.
Did it ever?
Or were bought for you.
Yeah. So we migrated from this very inviting social event that was just kind of self-propagating to the organized social event that was in a steel and glass enclosure. I don't want to call it like wasn't like an atrium kind of thing, but it was basically a steel building with wraparound windows and all of that. It was very nice, but it was like over where the pool apparently used to be. There were stories about the pool apparently. And it was like a cash bar, and there was, the cocktail tables everywhere. And it was very much just kind of a, mingle and chat kind of event. And, we got to meet other folks that we hadn't mingled with in the hotel bar. And, Matt Ryan from Chaosium was flitting about, and Rick Meintz and Bridget the social butterfly was everywhere and nowhere and then everywhere again.
Right. That's her job. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was so many people just milling about, but this place was so loud.
Okay, good. I'm glad you were going to get to that point. So
Yeah.
you were being good cop in this situation. I'll be bad cop. So
Yeah,
last minute there was a notification that the meet and greet was moved to what I believe they called the Crystal Palace or something like that. Not being there before, no big deal. And I mean, I assume you too, Keith. You're no stranger to hotels and Marriotts and
right.
events and excursions at these things, be it game related or weddings or whatnot. So it's like, sure. Holy shit!
I couldn't hear myself fucking think, let alone talk to anybody. Scott and I had to go outside of this Crystal Palace. You can't see me air quoting, folks. To where there was like little gas fires, those propane powered or LP fired little gas fires. And that's where all the socializing really was happening, because it was for us, because it was so bloody loud in there.
Yeah.
You couldn't hear yourself think, let alone have a conversation with anybody. Scott, what did the bartender say to you?
Oh God, let's see if I...
Do you remember?
At some point I walked up to get a drink, and I believe I said something like, and mind you, I'm yelling. This is quite literally that loud. I think I said something like, "Is it always this loud?" And her response was something of like, "No, we don't have Jack Daniels," or something like that. It literally was whatever she thought I said. Her reply did not match, the appropriate answer to what I was asking for. And
it was crazy. I mean, it was so loud.
I mean, and the positive take, I guess you can kind of take from it was, if this literally was like a Call of Cthulhu scenario, this was the gibbering mouther Shoggoth, just irradiated voices, a cacophony of sounds driving you mad. This would have been a D10 roll to deal with the situation. And hey, we don't know why it was moved. We don't know, this, and maybe this was not necessarily designed for this many people. It looked like a place where you would have like a wedding reception.
Yeah. I don't think it was really designed for this, because it looked like the back of it could be opened up. It was all like movable, doors, and it could be opened up. And the weather was nice. It had rained. And then it had, right before we got there was a downpour, and then it had stopped. So everything outside was wet, but it was comfortable. The temperature was nice before it plummeted. But it was on a beautiful lake, and I mean, nice hotel, nice country club, location's top notch. No bitches, gripes or complaints about the location. And I think the rest of our night, well, the next couple hours anyways, we spent out there. The event was like 2 hours. And I think we spent about a total of 3 hours at that event, just kind of hanging out by the fire pits and socializing and getting to know folks and having, for the most part, Chaosium centric conversations about like new RuneQuest versus old RuneQuest and ElfQuest. And I remember having that conversation and, a variety of similar topics. Yeah. And then we ended up back in the bar again.
Yeah, back in the bar. And then, everyone kind of went into their little social circle corners and, mingled back and forth. I mean, it was quite literally just like a wedding reception or a high school reunion, just without all of the nonsense and pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
And, and it was a lot of, very interesting and enlightening things of like, oh, you guys are the Titterpigs. We love your podcast. We listen to it all the time. And, I mean, at least our podcast, we get very little feedback. We don't get any sort of emails. On occasion, we'll get a comment. So other than just, the analytics, we don't really know much other than just, maybe some feedback from our own close and personal friends.
Right.
And that's usually just about the topic. So it was nice to hear, people, at the time, complete strangers, to say, "Oh yeah, I really enjoy your podcast. This is good to have you here. Welcome aboard."
That was nice. I love that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
Any feedback is great, but like when it's in person, that is so much better.
Yeah. Now, mind you, there were games going on. There were games that were scheduled for that evening. There were other events. There was a live AP. So a lot of the people that are associated with the Symphony Entertainment, they were off doing their live AP. There was another group. Oh God, I'm going to forget their name. It's not the Reanimators, maybe?
No.
I don't know.
They were there because I saw Reanimator RPG T-shirts. So I know they were there. But what was it? U2 King Cthulhu was a big group that was present at the event.
They were hosting games, but there was another AP going on, and then there was also a musical event. Do you remember what they were called?
Oh my God.
See,
no, I don't, and that's sad.
It's all right. I don't remember either.
And you, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah. So there was a Cthulhu themed band there, having their thing. So it wasn't just strictly, hey, everyone come hang out and have drinks.
Is that technically filking? Is that like a thing
filking?
Still?
What the fuck's filking?
Google it, bitch. Google it.
No. But yeah. So, and there were also panels and whatnot. So there were traditional
by definition,
stuff.
Just so we can clear the air, and I'm not a fucking perv.
Yeah.
Filking. Filk music is musical culture, genre, and community tied to science fiction, fantasy, and horror fandom, and a type of fan labor. So there you go.
Okay.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Okay. All right. And then was that the evening that we made our way across the Dawn of the Dead golf course, or was that another evening?
No, that was the night that we did do that. So as we were leaving the hotel at, I don't know, 1:15 in the morning, Seth Skorkowsky and his amazing wife were hanging out in front of the hotel. Yeah. And they said, "Hey, have a safe trip back to your hotel. Don't die," as we're walking away from them. And there's this dense mist as we're walking towards this like grassy rise that will take us into the golf course that we have to cross to head out to the main road to go to our hotel.
Right.
And we didn't die. So
no, we didn't die.
Evidenced by this episode.
But it was very cinematic. So now
the mist was swirling and it was great.
Now, you had asked me if I was going to bring something up, and I'm not going to give any details in this. So what I'd like to do is we'll do a little bit of a test. If Keith is going to say a 2-word name about something that happened to me on the way home to the hotel room after night 1, and what are those 2 words, Keith?
Oh God, this could go all kinds of ways.
Burrito what?
So, I mean, it could be taco boy, burrito blanket. I mean,
okay. We'll call it burrito. We'll call it burrito blanket. But it was provided many different names. Now, if you would like to hear about this particular story, give us some feedback. Shoot an email, leave a comment, hop on our social medias and
make
just say
your request go viral, and we'll include it in a future episode.
Yeah, I will give a special episode. Now, to be fair, you could ask probably everyone at this point in time at the con to regale you with the story. Now, the myth has probably gone beyond what actually happened. That's probably the fault of me.
No, that's the massaging wand.
Yeah. So we'll leave that there. So, but yeah, if we get enough responses on this, the story of the burrito blanket, we'll see in another episode.
Think
But anyways,
of # taco by night.
Yeah, sure. There you go. The next Vampire the Masquerade scenario.
I'm getting
Taco
a shirt
by
made,
night.
bitch.
Oh yeah. Anywho, so that concluded night one. Now, or day one, whatever.
Yeah.
Day two. Now, I think it's not really a foregone conclusion as to our particular circumstances come morning. What wasn't horrible.
Day two started with hangovers.
Yeah, just a tad. I mean, it's not even near the worst I've ever had.
No.
But it was a bit slow going. And day two, what did we have on the docket for day two?
So our plan was we were going to hang out in the hotel lobby bar area and just do some man on the street recording for the podcast.
Right.
Best laid plans are great until contact with the enemy. So we'll just leave it at that.
Sure.
So that was our plan until our enemy, Seth Skorkowsky, contacted us ahead of the event and said, "Hey, motherfuckers, I am hosting a panel now. And at least to Scott, your dumbass is going to sit on this panel with me." And then when we get to the con and we run into Seth outside the hotel, Seth's like, "Ooh, you're going to be on the panel too, Keith." So that is how so we basically hung out Friday morning and we basically fucked off and socialized, which was great. It was great fun. And then we did this panel at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And there was like 4 people. It was great. It was very much a little like intimate fireside chat about podcasting, starting a podcast, equipment, software, process. It was great. Great fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It was essentially an intro to podcasting. Like, what can I do to, get into podcasting? And, it pretty much was that. A few questions, a few Q&As, and
but it was good fun.
It was good fun. It was nice. Would have been, obviously the more the merrier, but still it was great for those that attended. And after the panel was done, we had met with a gentleman. Do you remember his name?
I do, and holy Christ, Del Castillo is his last name. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his first name?
And Chaosium just announced his game too, by the way.
Oh, no, that's not Del Castillo.
No.
So, no, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he was a game designer who has just published, right as ChaosiumCon was starting, he had published through Drive-Thru a BRP fantasy. It was a hybrid game. It was fantasy and something else. And I feel like a schmuck because everything at ChaosiumCon was such a whirlwind. So, dude, I apologize. Because he's emailed us and we need to respond back to him. But
I did respond back to him. Here. What we'll do is we'll technically pause it in editing and we'll get back to you with his name. All right. And we're back. So apologies, Jared. We definitely
we're totally professional.
But no, his game is Hearth and the Hair Ring. It is BRP based. The general description from what I can recall is it's kind of a would you say maybe like turn of the century, but kind of maybe Renaissance, maybe into Gaslight-ish kind of era where there is somewhat of an apocalypse going on, and you are essentially rebuilding your society and dealing with the horrors.
Right. So there was some fantastical elements. There was a post-apocalyptic elements. There was a couple of genres touched on. BRP based. He had a POD copy of his book. I mean, that's a chunky book. That looked like 200-page book.
Easily. And looked great. I mean, the art looked fantastic. whether he actually commissioned someone, which I think he mentioned. But regardless, we will definitely get Jared on here to give you more details of his game, and correct the horrible job that we're doing with it.
But professionals,
right? But one of the things that he asked was an important question, and the question he asked is, how do I go about contacting podcasters, YouTubers, and seeing if I can get on to promote my game? And the answer is not complicated at all. And we all agreed up and down the board, myself, Keith, and Seth, is just contact us. Just contact them. The answer is going to be sure, or no, or sure, it's just not right now. As soon as I can get to it. Everybody who does this kind of thing, generally speaking, at least in my interactions with them, are just normal everyday people. There's nothing wrong with contacting them. Be they 500,000 followers or 1,500 followers, whatever the case may be. They are just as interested in the hobby and what's going on in there and the things. And trust me when I say we enjoy when people reach out and say, "Hey, would you be interested in having a discussion or talking about my game?" Now, the answer, of course, isn't always going to be sure, but you're never going to know unless you try. There's no one is on a pedestal. Come to find out through all of our years of podcasting, doing these interviews, even your greatest hero in the hobby, they still bleed, eat. Everybody poops. So
I don't
they're
poop.
God, you need some roughage. But yeah, so I mean that was kind of like that ended the conversation. The rest of it was just more technical, how do I do this? What about this kind of thing? So it was fun.
Recommendations on mics and software and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then our day from there, we had a couple hour break until the afternoon. So we kind of just faffed about in the hotel bar. Imagine that. Because that became like the central hub of everything for the con.
Right.
If you weren't in the game, didn't matter who you were. If you weren't in the game, you came to the bar lobby area because it was like the most comfortable, centralized place to hang out at this hotel. And so we hung out there, and we DoorDashed in some food. We DoorDashed in some food. We hung out, and then we went and we played our first game. So we had to wait till middle of the second day to play our first game, but it was cool. We played Gatsby and the Great Race.
Yeah, and it was too much fun. It was such a great game.
Holy shit. Oh, let me just say this, Paul Fricker, fuck you, and I love you, buddy. It's a great game, dude.
So let's kind of, and there's a lot of people who are like, what is it? I didn't even know what it was until we signed up for it.
Yeah.
So let's see if, between you and I, let's see if we can break down the general description of the game without too many spoilers. There's going to be some, but, so
we'll try to keep it spoiler free.
Yeah.
So I've played it twice. This was my second time. I played it online, which is challenging, and I've played it in person now. So Gatsby and the Great Race is a multi-table, 3 or 4 tables, each with a keeper. Each table has 6 players. There is a cadre of assisting keepers that are macro managing the game, and things are happening at the macro level. So what's happening is Gatsby is having a party at his house. What?
Yeah.
Because Gatsby? What does Gatsby do? Gatsby has parties.
Right.
And everybody gets pulled out to Gatsby's lawn to listen to the Great Race, a horse race, and because everybody's betting on the race, and things go pear-shaped from there. And there are God, I really want to delve into spoiler territory, and I don't want to.
I'm going to.
Go ahead.
So generally speaking, you're one of 6 different individuals. Each one of these individuals have some sort of connection to Gatsby, and likewise, either a secret or obvious connection to each other.
Yep.
And everyone's there for a variety of reasons. For example, my character was there celebrating his engagement to his bride. And also, he's also trying to get people to invest in his new invention, and we'll get to that invention in a minute.
But
yeah,
my character at our table, because Scott and I played at the same table, I had no connection to Gatsby. However, I was invited to Gatsby's event through by the invite of Scott's fiancée,
right?
Who happened to be my lover. So
right.
She was my lesbian lover. So because I was playing a female character in this game.
Right. Now the other connection was Keith's character was essentially my first choice. I had been wooing her, but it seemed like nothing would impress her. So my wife, who at this table was named Amelie, was kind of like my parting gift, my consolation prize.
Yeah, so, and I didn't like Scott's character. My character didn't like Scott's character. I would snub him at every chance I got. And Scott and I, just by happenstance, where we sat at the table, and you didn't get to pick your characters. Wherever you sat, that was the character you got. And just so by happenstance, those are the characters we got. And Scott and I played these to the nines.
Yeah. And the table had a variety of people. It was our table was helmed by Doc Bones.
Yes.
And I'm fairly certain there were some people there who were either with Symphony or with the Reanimators and whatnot. So there was big personalities going on. And then we had
Keeper Doc too.
Yeah, we had Keeper Doc also.
Yes.
So big personalities. People comfortable with role playing games, which made it a lot more fun. So okay, now again, this is delving into a spoiler territory. So what essentially begins to occur is the premise is there's a time loop. Now, at first, it's not necessarily clear. It's just that's odd. Did we just start over, 20 minutes earlier? And so what happens is, as the loop begins to reestablish itself again and again and again, you start to see, key markers identifying things. Your sanity begins to unravel, and that alone would make for a great, fun scenario. But there's more. Keith?
Oh, so as the time loop happens, remember that I mentioned that things are being meta managed, or macro managed by the assistant keepers. So what happens is, as things happen in the game at the various tables, and we had 4 tables, these assistant keepers come around, will tap you on the shoulder, and there could be 2 reasons you're tapped on the shoulder. One is they're pulling you over to another table because they are doing a summoning spell to ask some questions, and you have to answer 2 or 3 questions to the keeper that everybody gets to listen to, but they can't interact with you. And then you go back to your table. Or B, you are flitted off outside of the game room in our situation, in our event, and you are taken kind of into like a nether realm, and there is a book and an altar and all kinds of props, and then that there's some interaction with that I won't get into, and then you are brought to another table where you are plopped down into another chair, completely disconnected from your previous table, and you are dropped into like an alternate body. So, for example, I was at this table Scott and I started at. I was playing Lori Cunningham, if I remember that was her surname, but Lori was her first name. Sure. And she was into like seances and things like that. When I dropped into the second table, I dropped into Felicity something or another, and Felicity at that table was into seances and stuff. So when you drop into another reality, the person you drop into is it's the same person, sort of, you drop into another person's body, but you take your character sheet with you. So I'm still fucking Lori in mind, but in body, I am Felicity. And it's crazy. Yeah. We had a player that was at our table, Silvio, a man who was an author, an aspiring author who was competing with Gatsby for like notoriety and publishing. And then when he finally came over to this table, because that's the table he ended up at, he dropped into a woman's body named Sylvia. Yeah. And so like relationships between, characters at the first table didn't exist at the second table because it was a completely different timeline. It's fucking bonkers. Yeah. If you've never played it, you gotta play it.
Yeah, and you would obviously something like this could go sideways very easily. So a huge round of applause and appreciation goes over to the keeper at every table, and also the adjunct keepers who were doing the micromanaging.
Huge shout out to Doc Bones. We had Scott and I had two keepers. We had Doc Bones. He was amazing. He's a published author in his own right in the Miskatonic repository. He also is part of Bridget's Symphony Entertainment. But also at our second table, we had our keeper was Heather, and I can't recall Heather's surname, but she was an amazing keeper as well. But the icing on the cake, though, with Heather, she's a Lovecraftian scholar.
Yeah,
that was amazing. That just like added like a whole new level of here. I'm gonna fuck with you guys,
right? And if that wasn't enough, there was a curveball thrown into the mix by yours truly. So I
was waiting for you to drop that hammer.
So every PC that you have has a different backstory, but they're kind of similar. They're kind of not, but each one has different. The connections are different. The backstory could be different. But my particular character, the thing that he was there to try to get investment money for, was his invention. Now, what they don't give you the invention. They in parentheses they say, what is it that you want to invent? Now, somebody did the headlights to a motor car. This is the time of Gatsby, so there's the rise of new inventions in industry and whatnot. I can't recall what some of the others invented. Mine was, we had plenty of time to sit and think, and I'm going, okay, what sounds completely ridiculous and stupid and fun? So what I came up with was the personal massaging apparatus. An electrified,
powered by 2 bromide batteries, might I add.
Yeah, so it was your typical, back massager. That, and of course, there's quotes there.
There's air quotes, folks.
That could be utilized to cure sore muscles, take care of anxiety, and take care of so many so many different things.
But the best part was, as Scott is describing this at the table, and to Gatsby, in character to Gatsby, and Gatsby's being played by the keeper, and he is enthralled by this description and just. He's like, this is amazing. I love the idea. And then the keeper looks at Scott. This is Doc Bones, and goes, as Gatsby, and goes, will it cure female hysteria?
Absolutely. In fact,
it was great.
So it was a ridiculous game of telephone. Now,
yes,
currently it was at our table, and then someone gets tagged to move to another table. And of course, I'm beefing it every time. It's why do we need 2 bromine batteries? We'll do 3 and then 4. And then obviously we will take take care of all ailments, and whatnot. But what's happening is the people who were initially at our table would go over to another table, and they would see the character played, that essentially was inheriting my character at another table, hey, didn't you invent the personal massaging apparatus? And they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I invented car headlights. And so it bounced from table to table, and by the time it finally made its way around, this thing is the size of a flagpole. It's 8 bromide batteries.
I was going to say 7 bromide batteries was my last count.
And mind you, are bromide batteries real? I don't fucking know. That's just the first thing that popped in my head. So who knows? Who cares? But one of the funniest things that happened was, the character who was playing my wife, they were one of the first ones to go to another table. So when the other PC came in, obviously I didn't know that they had switched minds or whatever. And this is when sanity loss begins to occur. I believe they had a bout of temporary insanity, and Keith, who hadn't left yet, my character was like, this is getting out of hand. Lorraine, go ahead and take my wife upstairs to her bedroom and utilize the full power of the massaging apparatus and see if you can cure her anxiety. Now, of course, Keith being who Keith was, absolutely. So the mistress of my wife had no problem taking them upstairs. And
I gave her
Gatsby's
just
mansion.
like off camera. I said, "Yep, we go upstairs, fade to black," because it was a full on female treatment.
Yeah. So that by the end of it, everyone of course was giving accolades to the game. And then, of course, the secondary accolades was, who created this massaging thing? This is fucking hilarious. And so that was a great highlight. But again, everybody who I know has said, Scott, if you get an opportunity to try Gatsby and the Great Race, and that recommendation comes right through me to anyone else listening, if the opportunity comes up, and I would say probably a con, because that they're going to do their best to organize it and structure it and keep it together, because it could, and not saying it will, but if people aren't on their toes, it can really come crashing down if you're not careful, just with all the moving pieces.
So all the props to everybody that pulled that off, running that and organizing, because that was amazing. And that wasn't the only multi-table game that was run there. They somebody else ran.
Was it the Innsmouth? The Raid on Innsmouth?
Raid on Innsmouth type game. That was like a 4 or 5 table game too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So props to the people that had the cojones big enough to go to say, hey, I want to do this, and then be able to pull it off.
Right. So when that was done, it essentially, I think we did the usual con thing. We would walk around to the artist gallery. Yeah. We made our way over to the vendor hall. And mind you, since this is a publishing focused convention, the vendor hall was full of Chaosium stuff. The H.P. Lovecraft Society was there.
Yep.
And who's the band?
So there was Sean Brennan of H.P. Lovecraft Society was there. Then there was Jared Smith of Bayat Al-Aziz was there, and he was representing like 5 or 6 different companies as a vendor. Yeah. There was 2 different dice companies there. I don't remember the first company, but the second company was Black Oak. Mm-hmm. And if you've never gotten Black Oak dice, folks, fucking awesome. They're slightly larger than your everyday run-of-the-mill Chessex or Koplow dice, so the numbers are a little bit bigger. Fantastic for like my old eyes. I don't have to wear my glasses when I actually roll dice. It was great. So it was great when I walk into vendor hall and the guy that's running it, the guy who owns the company, is like, I know you. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Because I buy dice from him every November at Mythic Con in Charlotte. That's a con they've been going to and supporting for a decade plus. But there was Ben Burns of, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on his?
New Comet
Games.
Comet?
Yep.
Okay, good. That's it.
And then the rest of the vendor hall itself was just Chaosium.
Right. And it was everything. Yeah, there wasn't really any shortage of Chaosium options. They did look like they pulled a few things from their inventory, some older books. There was a lot of Pendragon. stuff. And these weren't reprints. These were something that they obviously had there that they were
So for
selling.
those that are interested, like they pulled a couple of, or at least a case of like Beyond the Wall, the pick supplement for like 4th edition, Pendragon. They had a couple of Green Knight game supplements that they probably assumed that inventory when they took back the license from Green Knight. And so they had Saxons, they had Mystic Tournaments, they had a couple other things.
Yeah.
So they had 4 or 5 older Pendragon publications. They had a variety of things, but what they didn't have for Pendragon, since we've been on a Pendragon kick lately, they did not have the new Le Morte d'Arthur, nor did they have the new Arthurian Companion.
No, and they and nor did they have anything new for the new edition. I mean, kind of hoping that
they had a few things. They had a few things for Pendragon, but
the stuff that they had announced. Nobles were coming soon. This kind of would have been
They
one,
did not release Nobles at this
ChaosiumCon.
event because Nobles is not due out until theoretically May.
Okay, so that probably a Gen Con thing if they don't do it at the UK. But
I'd imagine it'd be released at ChaosiumCon UK.
Right. So I mean, it is. I mean, nothing was really purchased because, of course, we were flying, so you really couldn't get a whole hell of a lot. But they had a good inventory. So if you were lucky enough, you bought a couple things. Yeah, I saw, but it's not like we could have loaded up. You know what I mean?
This was not Gen Con where I was driving and could load my entire trunk up with shit again.
Yeah, and I was going with an extra suitcase knowing full well I would be coming home with extra stuff. So, and I think that kind of wrapped it up. We, obviously there was more socializing through the evening. We weren't out as late. Because I had a game to run on day 3.
Yeah, so let's talk about Scott's game. So let's fast forward to Saturday morning. Again, we arrive at the hotel hungover because that's what we do when we go to cons.
You were. I was fine. I didn't drink anything. I don't think I drank anything the second night, but I made up for it the third night.
You didn't drink any less. You didn't drink any more. You didn't drink any less.
Yeah. So,
until the third night.
Yeah.
But, so we arrive at the hotel. And we've got a 10 o'clock game. No, 9 o'clock game.
9 o'clock. Yeah.
And Scott, tell us about your game. Because I don't want to do it any disservice. Because I have my opinions of it.
Sure. So the game I'm running is one of is my own. It's a scenario that kind of hit me. God, it's been maybe over a year now or so. Just kind of chipping away at it, filling in bits and pieces here or there, reworking it, redoing it again. And I gathered this would be a good place to give it a try because one, there's people there that I know that were going to be playing it, so that worked out, or the possibility of it. But I was willing to set aside extra chairs just to get familiar faces on there if necessary. So what it essentially is it's a bit of an homage to the opening chapters of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So, and which is essentially takes the characters through meeting the analog NPC of Hunter S. Thompson as their van is broken down by the side of the 15 on the way to Vegas. Roland Duquet is the name that I provided to him. The player characters are reporters for Fate magazine, a supernatural magazine from the 70s, and they're kind of out to try to get one good story to hopefully keep the subscriptions flowing for a flailing magazine on its way out. And so they were looking for a big scoop. And what they were going to go cover was a new convention. Mind you, this all takes place in 1972. So kind of leaning a bit on, not necessarily Grindhouse, but leaning on the period that kind of Alex Giat has popularized. And so one of the key highlights of it being Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, is is of course the bit of the gonzo aspect of the story in the movie, but also the necessity of putting in some really fun drug related rules associated with
so
it.
So good.
So, and these are spoilers, but it's currently not published or anything, so it's not that big of a deal.
It needs
especially
to be.
if we'll get to that, someday. But anyway, so they're picked up. He is soon attacked by a group of Bayakis that are coming down to stop him from getting to Vegas. He is soon kidnapped, and the player characters are left struggling with a flailing giant red convertible Cadillac as they come to a stop. He tells them that you need to check the trunk, and the trunk is full of all sorts of wonderful handouts, and of course, an envelope full of blotter LSD.
Oh,
that the PCs were told to take because it would allow them to see through the veil, which would be necessary to what they were going to try to find out and stop. Now, the table essentially was 4 people. But what I had done is I had created a 5th character, and there was no problem not blocking a seat there for a 5th person, because at the time we knew Seth was going to ChaosiumCon, and I just and he had said he hadn't signed up for anything, so it's like, well, I created essentially an NPC that mirrored the hitchhiker from the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas story. So probably they were a bit railroaded. Like after the whole thing with Roland occurred, they continued to Vegas. Of course, there was a hitchhiker by the side of the road. This is a convention, so I have no shame in going, you got to stop. Otherwise this person isn't going to be part of the game. They stopped, and this 5th character who had no idea what had happened previously. Was played by Seth Skorkowsky's wife, Casey, who was kind enough and wonderful to come down and join in the fun. So that was great to have her aboard, and she was great. She was a lot of fun and said she enjoyed herself. So the 5 of them made their way to Vegas, and they investigated around the convention floor, met with a couple of the people listed in the program from the handouts that were in the trunk.
Listen,
they found
the best part of the scenario was I got to drop acid. Okay.
Oh yeah. So over the course of the events, in the beginning, just to kind of like keep with the flow of what we were doing, one of the NPCs is obviously the flower child hippie. I'll drop anything, whatever you got, to kind of at least get someone who I know the right player would read this and go, yeah, the moment that came out of the trunk, pop right in the mouth. So what happens when you take it is, first off, and I didn't tell you guys this, so I don't know if I remember I did. So I had them make a luck roll. Now, one of the tabs is some bad acid. So if they failed their luck
till after the game.
Till after.
Yeah.
So if they failed their luck roll, they would pull the bad acid, and even worse and crazier stuff would occur, once the drugs take effect. If they pass it, they would then do was it a con or a PAL check? I think it was a con. I think it was a con check.
Yeah.
So they did a con check. And if they passed it, they got to roll on the good trip random table. And if they failed it, they got to roll on the bad trip random table.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was currently it's just 6 items on each with various accoutrements associated with their trip that could be positive, but still not necessarily good. But, at least they weren't
more positive than negative.
Right. Yeah. So, but
less negative.
But of course, there was a role playing aspect to it, and of course, there was a gamified aspect to it. Like, for example, I believe Keith's intern, which was another highlight of the game. I think you rolled on the bad table, which essentially made you make your sand checks with a disadvantage, or was that someone else? I forget. But that was one of the bad. I think
trips. Eventually I rolled on the bad acid table. Yeah, the bad trip table.
Right.
Yeah.
My
character was a shitbag, like in the sense of, he was an intern, so he was used and abused by his reporter editor, who was along for the trip as well. So, yeah, I was used and abused by that character. So
Right.
when it came to climbing in the back of the car, I got stuck in the middle, squinched, like elbow to elbow, like my fists are in my face. When things were being thrown, this is a convertible, mind you. When things were being thrown out and somebody fumbled, it smashed me in the head. It didn't like just errantly go out the back of the fucking car and onto the highway and shatter. No. Scott says, "Fuck you." Bam! It hit you on the side of the fucking head. Because I'm the intern. Yeah.
Right.
It's great.
So some good thing like Doc Cali was there. He was playing the photographer.
Yes.
And he got to roll with advantage against sanity checks. Casey, Seth's wife, she got kind of a mixed bag. She rolled on the positive, but the positive was voices were talking to her.
Oh yeah.
They're giving you some information, but you're not entirely sure if that information is true or not. So it was up to the player character to either follow or ignore the information. And as it progressed, the voice became two voices, two competing voices.
Yeah. And then our spiritual columnist, her good trip turned into a bad trip. Right. And it morphed into a bad trip, and she suffered from crazy ass fucking paranoia. Like, everybody's out to get her, Big Brother's out to get her, everybody's out to get her. Don't trust anybody. Like, the voices in her head are talking to her, and so she became like our anti-hero. Like, we want to do something. She's like, "Fuck you, I'm not doing that." Cause they're listening, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And she's
great.
What was great about her was the character that she played, or how she played it, definitely was the one. If there was any sort of stall, like if they're standing in front of a door to one of the bars they were supposed to go into, you look up and she's already in the bar. She kept the ball rolling when the usual kind of Call of Cthulhu investigation pause occurs, where everyone's kind of debate, what should we do? Where do we go? What do we look for? And she's like, fuck it, I'm going this way down the street.
She grabbed the LSD by the tab and ran with it. Just pew!
Yeah. So essentially, there was a bit of short form investigation. Now, mind you, this is trimmed down from the scenario that I have, because I knew it was a con game. But there was a few things that pointed to, there was a bar called the Devil's Reef, which was essentially, and I don't think no one ever said anything, but the bar was helmed by a Deep One.
Oh, we knew that.
A Deep One hybrid. Now, the story behind the Deep One hybrid was he was actually part of the raid on Innsmouth and had been in a desert facility near Area 51 until the nuclear tests occurred. Now, when the nuclear tests occurred, several of the things that they contained within there escaped, and he was one of the few that weren't brought back. He made his way to Vegas and started this bar and has been living there ever since. And the joke kind of is a creature of the ocean living in the middle of the desert. How fucking absurd is that?
Right.
So, and then there was the infamous hotel room, Call of Cthulhu style, that they had to go find some information from Roland's quote unquote attorney that kept being brought up, but they never really met with. And so they pieced it all together. And long story short, there is an incursion in Las Vegas happening. Las Vegas is Nyarlathotep's playground, but there's an incursion of Carcosa trying to make its way into there. Obviously, rather than confront each other directly, they're utilizing pawns on the chessboard, to try to get things in there to stop it. So, Roland Duquet is a pawn of Nyarlathotep, and the things trying to stop you are pawns of Carcosa, and Hastur and the Yellow King. And there's a show that occurs where a Carcosan cursed light was essentially reflecting these Carcosan imagery onto these reflective showgirl outfits and other performers on the show, which warped the audience and started driving everybody crazy. Thankfully, you guys, and by roles, so they found their way up to the light. They Doc proceeded to try to stop the event, and then one of the show hands who was already under the influence attacked them. Several shots were fired, and they were struggling up there. Meanwhile, down in the audience, is Casey's character, who has already decided that the voices telling her to sit and enjoy the show were the way to go, and likewise the intern.
So, Scott, what happened to my intern?
I mean, that remains to be seen.
Yeah. My intern got fucking zapped, sucked up, chewed up, spit out, and fucking barfed into Carcosa somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, so he failed the role. So when the lights go off, I mean, for literary purposes, the majority of the audience members failed. For those technically who didn't, the audience members who were now under the influence of the yellow sign and whatnot are turning on each other. And
I was poofed.
Yeah, but as soon as they stopped the light, things went dark. When everything came to, those who were infected were whooshed away, to enjoy a nice vacation on the shores of Lake Hallie. That's what
we're going to call it, a vacation.
Right. And then the surviving investigators were so there was a bit of a foreshadowing puzzle to the game. Now, I know a lot of people have opinions on stuff like that. Some are fine with it. Some don't do that.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, when Roland pulls up and the music was actually playing on my phone, was Painted Black by the Stones. Now, in the story, he's playing Sympathy for the Devil. So that was played just briefly in the beginning. Now, at the end, up on stage are 3 stage doors, and they're all painted red, and they're hearing a knocking at it. And there was a possessed typewriter, Roland's typewriter, that was kind of feeding them clues here and there and whatnot. But each one gets more weird. It's essentially the last one, he's essentially being pulled more so into the aspects of Carcosa. But there was several clues. In the suitcase was a can of black paint. There was the song in the beginning. There was a bit of the lyrics in there, and it was up to one of the players. I won't say who, but there was up to one of the players who needed to figure out what was going on. Keith, mind you, had already been whisked away with all, but he knew the answer.
Out, Scott.
And who knew the answer? Essentially, to get Roland back, they needed to paint the red door black.
Keith figured it out. So Keith's character's gone away, and I'm just sitting there biting my knuckle, going, "I know how to solve this." Because at the end, I got the connection of the black paint, the song at the beginning, and then the 3 red doors. When you see a red door, you want to paint it black.
Right.
So it's one of my favorite.
It's a silly clue, but still, but so
it was a great clue.
So there was an intelligence roll, and the one who essentially made it, could hear the last whispering aspects of Keith's intern, singing the lyrics to, Paint It Black. And they're like, oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
Spray painting it. Roland comes jumping out and essentially tells everyone, get the fuck out of here before shit goes pear-shaped. Meet me back in my room in 20 minutes. You guys go over there. And the conclusion is essentially one of the scenes from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He is in the bathroom. He is in the bathtub. He is naked. There are various symbols on the wall of the bathtub done with shaving cream and shampoo and conditioner. His body is literally just covered in arcane tattoos. And there's a large 70s tape recorder. And he essentially says, this has just been a rehearsal. This is just the beginning. I need to get some legal advice from my attorney. Press play. And when Grace Slick, it's White Rabbit, starts playing, when Grace Slick hits the crescendo, toss it into the bathtub. Now, it was our no one wanted to do it except one of our
was it the
our flower child?
Yeah, the LSD chick. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's like, no, I'm not going to do this because she's super paranoid. She's essentially contradicting what anyone says, but with a little bit of reverse psychology. I think it was, oh, so you don't want me to do this. So obviously I'm going to.
Yeah.
And it's thrown in there. There's, he's electrocuted. Everything goes black. And in the mirror, there's a voice of Roland's attorney essentially greeting the players with a big, huge smile. And there was allusions to him throughout the whole scenario. Boom. That was the end of the scenario for the most part. Yeah.
So listeners, if you've made it this far and listened to Scott about his scenario and it intrigues you, comment wherever you're hearing this episode, wherever you got the link to this episode, comment and tell Scott you want to see this fucking thing published.
Sure.
So I can help him get it published.
Yeah, no, Keith we'll sit down and we'll take some time, and we got a little extra time, and do what we can and throw this up on the Miskatonic, hopefully, someday soon, before, the ADHD kicks in and Keith and I move on to other things. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was it. I mean, I know we kind of went long on it, but that was at least my highlight. And then the bigger highlight was afterwards. Obviously, you all guys, you all appreciated it. It was great fun. Doc Cowie popped on to the ChaosiumCon socials and had some extremely nice words.
He did. And that was fantastic.
Yeah. So that was a big highlight. And of course, it was a joy to have all the players there. And of course, having Seth's lovely wife enjoy it too. She was very appreciative, and Seth was as well. Other than the fact that he couldn't believe that she got up at 9 a.m. to come play my scenario.
I know, when he got up at like 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. So Seth's lazy, but that's a whole nother thing. So our Saturday morphed in from that to we just kind of lingered about Saturday afternoon. We hung out. We tried to do some recording. It turned into just like social hour that never ended. Right. And next thing we know, it's like, midnight, 1 a.m. and, food's been had, lots of drinks have been had, lots of conversations about everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I kind of caught my second win. You were tired a little bit early. You took off me about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And made my way back shortly after that.
Yeah.
And Sunday, we were supposed to go play Ghostbusters, but
yeah. So we were scheduled to play Ghostbusters at 9 a.m. Yeah. And Saturday afternoon, early evening, we decided we weren't going to do it. We were going to try to record on Sunday. So that was our intention. We were going to set up in the lobby again and record.
Yeah.
Well, again, all, best intentions are great until first contact with the enemy. The enemy this time was just social butterflies. So
everybody.
Yeah. We went to the hotel, we hung out in the lobby for a bit, and we just started socializing with people, and we just could not be arsed to fucking pull out the equipment and record. Because like when we got to the hotel, it was kind of like breakfasty time. It was pre 9 a.m. game slot, so people were still eating breakfast, and it was super noisy, and the whole place was full. So we were kind of seated in the lobby area versus the bar area, and that's not quite as conducive to recording. Like with, there was like these nice nooks and things like that, and it was comfy, but like spatially, distance between, a person and the mic and all of that was going to be non-existent. It was going to be a problem just to record for quality reasons. So we ended up just socializing, and then the day just literally slipped away from us. We didn't do anything but socialize all day long with.
Yeah, I think not only ours, but several other people, their social batteries were low. Their fuel tanks were nearing empty.
And people were leaving the con that day to fly home or drive home. And so we ended up hanging out with Seth and Casey for quite a few hours. We hung out with Doc Bones. who was one of our keepers from Gatsby and the Great Race. Heather, the other keeper that Scott and I had from Gatsby and the Great Race. We hung out with Tiffany, a woman named Tiffany, and her husband. Tiffany is one of the players in the Symphony Entertainment cast of characters for Bridget's YouTube or Twitch stream. And we all just hung out and socialized and literally, if you can imagine a topic, whether it was family or gaming with family or, somewhere in that realm, we talked about it.
Yeah. And we had an early morning flight the next day. So after a bit, someone had, ordered some pizza, which was really good. And kind of at that time, you can kind of see everyone was just kind of waiting for the one person to go, "Welp."
I think that was me because somebody looked at me. I had my arms spread on two chairs. The chair I'm sitting in had my arm up on the back of that chair, and then the chair next to me. And I think nobody wanted to say it. And then I think it was Heather. She's like, "Well, you're spreading across two chairs to prop yourself up. I think it's time to call it quits." And it's like 5 p.m. And I'm like, I think you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that for the most part, that kind of ended it. But there was a couple other things. So, one of the things that occurred while we were there was, what's ChaosiumCon with a touch of dungeon crawl classics? The second night we were there, while everyone was socializing, the always wonderful James Posenel, who lives nearby, made his way over to come hang out with us for a few hours, and that was fantastic.
That was awesome.
It was the same thing as what we're doing. It was some general conversations about a variety of gaming topics and other things. We shared a couple beers. He gave us a couple new items associated with his Netcrawl Classics game. Discussing other things that he's working on, and we won't mention, it's not our place to say it because I don't know if it's officially out, and just had the usual insider RPG industry talk that occurs at these things.
Oh yeah, and he's a great cat to just chat with, down to earth, super friendly,
hilarious, and
amen, bro.
Trust me, if I had money to burn, I would be going to their Dungeon Con that they have up in Gary. Yeah, their second year, and obviously, search him up, pick up his games. But if you get an opportunity to see him at a con, have a conversation with him, he's fantastic. And then the last day, there was one of the people there who. Apparently was giving away their entire DCC module collection. You saw someone who had those module boxes that Goodman Games sold for a while, kind of wandering around the floor for a bit, and then eventually some word came to us saying, "Hey, somebody's giving away their modules," and at a certain point, I made their way over there and picked some up. Now. Here's the kicker, and I wasn't aware of this until the other day. So the gentleman, and I use that term loosely because various people like Cuppy Cup and Scott Dorwood and other people know him very well. The person giving their games away was known as online as Your Friend Nate, who is wonderfully hilarious, snarky, takes a lot of guff from people, but gives the guff back. He had played in the in one of the test scenarios that Scott did that he was writing for the Glass Cannon. And he was by all the other people, he's kind of treated how your intern was.
Oh boy!
Except he gives it back.
Oh, good.
We had played face to face, over a video camera. We had sat there and had a light conversation. We knew each one of each other was there, but hadn't really made the connection to each other yet. But we stood across from each other. I'm going through his books. He's talking to me. I'm talking to him. Neither one of us, made the visual connection of like, "Oh, Scott, Nate? God, aren't we fucking assholes? Until after the fact. So that was another kind of little highlight thing.
Yeah,
It's
I thought that was a great highlight though. Like,
yeah,
because I saw him. Somebody said, "Hey, somebody's got some DCC stuff over there." So I walked over. And I said, "What are you guys doing with this stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, well, Nate's giving this stuff away," and Nate wasn't even at the table. So I started BSing with the folks at the table and who I didn't know. And then Nate comes over and he's like, "Yeah, hey, look through the stuff. If there's a couple you want, take them. Give them I'm trying to give them a good home." He goes, "I'm doing all my gaming online these days." He goes, I overbought during the pandemic." He goes, "I'm not really doing face-to-face gaming anymore, except at conventions. So this stuff needs a new home."
Yeah.
So I grabbed 3 modules, and I
did too.
Yeah.
So, but why don't we cap the con with one of the final situations that occurred while we were all kind of lounging around that Sunday, waiting for Seth and others to kind of make their way out. So we're sitting in the same lounge area. Seth and his wife are there. They've got their suitcases. They're just kind of passing the time. Other people are talking. Doc Bones is there. Heather is sitting with us. And I'm sitting there, we're having some generalized conversation. And then out of the blue, Bridget comes over. And she has a copy of their new Campfire Tales book.
Grumble.
There's going to be 2 sides to this story. We will start with what you and Seth and all you other fuckers thought you heard. What do you think you heard?
So Bridget walks up and we all swore she asked Scott, "Do you want a copy of this?" And Scott says, "No." And then she proceeds to hand Scott the fucking book. And we're all like, what? We're literally all scratching our head. And Bridget's like super Bridget, right? She's all personality and loves everybody, and everybody loves Bridget, right? And she's like, "Okay, here you go, baby." And she hands him the book, and everybody's hugging, and everything's great.
Sure.
What did Scott hear?
Now, some time passes, right?
And we're giving Scott shit too, by the way.
And well, you didn't do it yet. You actually let it boil for a while. But at some point, fair. You or Seth are like, "Oh yeah, what the fuck was up with that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about, man? What you said to Bridget?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" So what I heard, and this is what happened.
What Scott heard was
so Bridget comes over, and I see her, and she looks at me, and she holds the book out, and she says, "Do you have this?" Now, I don't. And of course, it's a free book. I'm going to be excited for it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Here you go, baby." And then, and the same thing occurs. But now we're all tired and exhausted.
Yeah.
And of course, so everyone sitting around starts, giving me the gaslight of like, "Nah, man, you didn't say that. That's not what you said." And I'm sitting there going, "Holy shit, was I just a dick, unknowingly to of all people,
So what did you do in response?
Oh, I got myself up. I walked through. I was going to the bathroom, but on my way, I saw Bridget was sitting at the table, talking to Keeper Doc and someone else, and I forget who it was. And I'm like, well, we had gotten to know Keeper Doc also over the time, so I'm like, I'm comfortable enough to go over there and maybe interrupt this conversation. So I go over, I lean down on the table, I put my arms up the table, and I said, "Hey, when you came over, did you say, 'Do you want this or do you have this?'" And she's like, "Well, I said, 'Do you have this?'" I'm like, "Great, because that group of assholes over there have been gaslighting me for the past half an hour. Thank you." So I, of course, and without missing a beat, I come over, chest held high, and tell them what happened. And what do you dickheads tell me? It's like, "Oh no, Bridget's just trying to make you feel better."
Yeah, we kind of did do that, but we all heard the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out. We're waiting.
So, and then shortly thereafter, people started making the way out, and then we made our way back to the hotel to just kind of chill, because we had to get up at 3 a.m. to get our way over to the airport and head for home. So yeah, even though it's been well over an hour, that's kind of the 4 days of our ChaosiumCon in a nutshell. And I mean, I would, if the opportunity arose and the situation was right and the stars aligned, I would do it again in an instant if there wasn't any other circumstances that wouldn't allow us to get back there. But yeah, I mean,
I would do it again. I don't know that I would go every year.
No, I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, traveling to cons gets super expensive fast. Like I had the wife book a hotel for our con that we go to every November. And that's like for 4 days. It's with parking, it's almost $500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's just a hotel. That doesn't include anything else: food, drinks, purchases, anything.
Okay. No, I mean, I agree. Say things right themselves here, hopefully, in this country, and a lot of our good friends who did not come over or won't come over to other cons for obvious reasons can start coming with comfort and ease. That would be a more preferable place to have them all come there than it would be, hey, let's meet up at Gen Con again. Because the environment that we all kind of shared at the house at the end of the day at Gen Con is essentially prevalent there 24 hours at the convention itself also.
Yes.
So it would be a great place.
The vibe at ChaosiumCon is fantastic.
Yeah.
No qualms from me on that. Just the hotel cost, like if you stay at the host hotel, is not cheap. Staying off property across the street, there's two available hotels. Yeah. They're fairly priced. It's not like stupid expensive. You just got to walk. It's not that big of a deal. Right. As long as the weather's not against you, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But if you're not from the area, now you've got airfare or driving, so it just the costs add up. But but still, a great con, great atmosphere. If you've never been, I would recommend you go, and go play some Chaosium games at their hosted convention. You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and it definitely is worth it. I mean, enough said. I mean, and to be fair, there's probably a dozen other things that we just didn't touch upon. Just this little things here or there, and all the wonderful people. All the Docs, all the Nathans, and all the Scotts. I mean, everyone there was named one of those names.
So with that, let's ride off into the sunset. But as a reminder to listeners, if you've made it this far and you comment and badger Scott, maybe he'll get his scenario published, and maybe in a future episode he will spill the beans on what happened at ChaosiumCon. You dick. So till next time. Maybe not. I don't know. Nope. Episode 51. We are working on that as we speak. So till then.
Well, hey there, listeners. As we had mentioned in the previous segment, we go to these conventions with good intentions to try to get some recordings. We've done it at Gen Con a few times, and sometimes just the social activities, the newness of the con, just everything goes against all intentions of trying to get it done. But
we suck.
Yeah, we suck. But that being said, we actually did take a moment to set up at one point during ChaosiumCon, and Keith and I had a bit of a conversation between us, and the idea was someone would just drop by, maybe have a conversation, we'd pull someone over, talk about whatever was floating their boat. Well, the one person that we had who decided to come on over and sit on the mic was Mr. Seth Skorkowsky himself. So, here's our conversation.
Don't mind us. We're bringing a guest on. Special guest.
Which one is it? Shit. Let's see. 6. All right. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, I did. I turned the right knob.
All
Yay
right.
for me. So
Good job, knobhead.
Yeah. We had someone just walk by here. It is our co-panel list. Ist.
Yeah, damn right.
Mr. Seth Skorkowsky who stopped by. So.
Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm fine.
He's
Welcome to Titterpigs.
Finally.
Oh.
Finally you asked me to come on.
Oh my God, that's right. Jesus.
Wow.
We just have to do Scott Dorward first.
Wow. You feel the love?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just doing a little recap and talking about it, but I was asking Mr. Pendragon here questions about it because we went through the vendor hall and they've got some 25-year-old books that are still in the shrink that they're selling. These aren't reprints of Pendragon stuff. So he's like, I'm gonna.
So you're gonna buy it, just rip off that shrink wrap?
Oh, well, I'm not buying. It's in a brick.
It's a brick.
Yeah, it's a brick of like 8 or 9 books that I guess have just been sitting in a warehouse,
somewhere.
Yeah.
for a couple decades.
You're gonna rip off the shrink wrap, you son of a bitch.
He
You
is.
keep that, preserve it for the resale value.
Well, they.
It's a collector's edition.
I want.
It's a whole brick. It's not even an individual box.
don't want to put that on eBay. It's like I got a brick of Beyond the Wall. $500. But
Greg Stafford's breath is captured inside that shrink wrap. You have to open it and just suck.
it wasn't a machine. He did it with a hair dryer.
All right, listeners, you see what we have to deal with? You see what we have to deal with now? This is every con we go to with Seth. This is what we deal with.
No, there's a lot of good stuff. You know what sucks though, and I know why they don't have it here because there is unspeakable tentacle games we don't do, but the Sons of Singularity books are here. The Sassoon Files and all that good stuff, and they're great books, but they're missing a key element that has 2 podcasters as NPCs in there, and that's
Yeah.
but that's because it's based on Gumshoe.
Yeah.
Why did they do one on Gumshoe?
That is their so for the Sons of the Singularity, their home game system that they use to play test everything before it becomes some other system
Sure.
is Gumshoe.
Why did they forget to change it when they?
No,
Because it can be fun on Gumshoe, it can be fun on anything.
because Gumshoe has an open license. So and that was their vanity project. So
okay.
I mean they do have obviously they have a Chaosium license
Sure.
to publish, but they wanted to they already had it written. They wanted to do it, so they just put it out with that system and didn't have to convert it.
Now it makes sense why they said, "Oh yeah, we'll put you in there. Don't worry about it. It's free." It's like, okay, we're in the book that no one's going to buy. So, but no, those. I mean, they took our pictures and so they put like their artist. I forget his name. But there's a picture of me just with the beard. But he gave me this sweet,
Huge pectoral muscles.
No, this sweet, just 1980s metal hairband hair. I mean, it's just the cut. And I look like I'm the guitarist for Iron Maiden. It's just so good.
And he's got the tricorn, and he's a bartender.
But you, which obviously they made him an NPC mayor of Cuba at the time at the age of sail. It's just Keith, and he had his head shaved at the time, so it's just Keith on like a head. They didn't put a wig on you or any hair.
Just wearing like a t-shirt.
No, they
stupid.
took my head and they put it on they cropped it into like a period body,
Did it
appropriate
have huge
attire.
pectoral muscles?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
But I mean,
shame.
But I'm just like, well, I mean, sure, but I mean, it's like I'm like, dude, did you see your picture? I've got like fucking,
Why is it this your profile picture online?
I've done it before.
I have too.
Okay.
I've used his.
But it's one of those reminder things where it's just like, every once in a while I'll go online, like, just want to remind everyone I'm in a book, and it just it's saved somewhere. I got to find it. Well, you know what? I'll show Seth. Talk about something amongst yourselves, and I will find it.
So Seth, thoughts on the panel? We were talking about the panel too. Did you enjoy doing that panel that you were voluntold to do?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I mean, I it would have been great had more people been there, but
Sure.
I enjoy talking about that type of stuff in the dispelling certain myths a lot of people talk about. Like,
Right.
like the little piece of advice I give, like the secret is you, is one of the things I always try to drive home. Anytime I'm asked to talk about that, because I think a lot of them will get really wrapped up in like, I have to buy the $600 microphones. And I have to buy the 4K cameras and all this stuff. And I'm like, $100 microphone, your cell phone camera. It's all about you.
Yeah.
Everything else is just icing. And so I enjoy chatting about that. I enjoy explaining how people who do this professionally still screw up constantly. And, I can't tell which input is my mic.
We were just doing that. So yeah, no, I thought the prompts that you had were engaging. The questions the audience asked us were quite engaging and kept the conversation alive and on point, which was nice. I've hosted panels, or moderated panels.
Immediately go off the rails into another.
Oh yeah,
topic.
like completely left field, and it's like, really? We're talking about this, and you want to talk about that? Like, not even
later,
not even remotely related. I've been involved in that, both as somebody watching the panel, somebody sitting on the panel, and somebody moderating. So I've seen it all. Goes pear-shaped and squirrely.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was nice.
I think our greatest good deed that we did for the day was our talk with that one guy afterwards, where we saved him from spending $500 to come on someone's podcast to talk about the game that he's running, which is just, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't. It makes me think of, when you've got like a fledgling author.
Yeah.
And like you have these kind of predatory people that'll like, you pay them for reviews. And, lots of stuff, or like, oh, we'll be your publisher, but you pay us, or you'll be your agent, you pay us. It's like, it's just kind of just really being predators on like people's inexperience and then desperation to hit their dream. And that really ticks me off because I've been there when I was in that prey zone, and I would get the emails like, hey, here's a great opportunity to get basically taken advantage of, and so kind of seeing that's like, oh, and this is the new evolved version.
Yeah.
That was
well. We get the advertisements a lot with, hey, insert name, Scott, I just listened to your podcast. We would like to, get you some exposure. So, shoot me an email and we'll have you join the team. It's just like, now, mind you, I'm well aware of that's nonsense. But again, someone who is in that predatory aspect be like, oh man, I kind of want to get my podcast started. And then,
well, because there's just a lot of people like, they're desperate. They put their heart and soul into doing a product. They want people to know about it. And they're feeling so frustrated. And like this comes in, their normal warning signals get kind of overridden by like, oh my God, finally. And
people prey on it. And
and
it's a shame.
It's I don't know. Then they always try to justify it. It's like, no, don't. But like, that type of email. Like, so when I did the Q workshop dice sets, it actually took them emailing me several times because it looked so much like something like that,
like a boilerplate,
that I just wrote it off because it's a. No way is Q Workshop actually messaging me. Like, whatever. Delete.
That's when you look at like the from sign and you click on it and it's like, Steve at Cuba.com. It's like, okay, it's fake. I'm not.
Yeah. So it was like they'd emailed me several times. And finally I'm like, and I pull it up like, okay, that actually is the correct email address. I kind of look into it like, what? Wait, this is real? Because, I was so conditioned to like, if it sounds too good to be true, it's definitely a scam. And
Meanwhile, there's the poor sales guy at the other end who's like,
oh, that's why, like, because people ask, like, why did Q Workshop do you? And there was like all these other people that are more famous. Which is like, hey, well, first, thanks. But two, I'm pretty sure all of them did the same thing I did. And it's like, well, why didn't Matt Colville have a problem? Because he was like, whatever, scam, and like, down Ginny D, down the line until they finally got to S. And I replied.
I mean, that could be factual. We don't know. We don't know.
I'm not going to ask him. It's like, so was that the first? Oh, yeah, you were the 73rd person we asked. But you were the first person that responded.
Wow.
Oh, no, that's those things. But I mean, it's just the whole thing about the podcasting thing is it quite literally is. You strip it all down. It is the easiest thing to do in the hobby if you wanted to do something, know? And it's just, I think it's behind a lot of technical stuff that people who aren't technically inclined aren't really, too keen about. But even if you do like the whole Spotify thing, you don't have to go through the editing. You can just do it through their app and you can make a couple adjustments and it'll sound okay. But yeah, there's just a lot of mysticism behind it where it's just like, I don't know so I just record and upload it and they put it everywhere. It's like, well, kinda. Yeah. That's it. And you're done. Like, and they'll put it on Apple. It's like, well, you got to make an account, but that's normal stuff.
Yeah, it's not rocket surgery, but I mean,
Wait, take two. It's not what?
Rocket surgery.
Oh, fuck. All right.
So, it's there is some
meat rocket.
There is that. There is that. Odd silence. And then that. No, there is some mysticism to it that shouldn't be there. Like you said in the panel, Seth, I mean, there's a YouTube channel for everything, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, anybody that wants to get involved and it can find information on it and get it figured out pretty quickly. Yeah. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get involved. A good mic is all you really need.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend any money, spend it on a good mic, and that's it.
Well, it's and I mean, and people are like, well, what do I talk about? It's like anything. I mean, it's easier when you got a duality. Like you and John, you can talk and riff off each other. Me and Keith, it's a little bit harder sometimes. I guess podcasting, but just yourself. Because it's different on YouTube because you're actually, you're doing a visual media where it's, you're doing something for the camera.
Hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So when my first novel came out, Amber, in 2014, I was talking with a guy who was older than me, but he was really marketing was his business.
Right.
And he's like, you need to make a YouTube channel. It's the second largest search engine, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I don't know what to make a channel about. He's like, we'll make it about writing. It's like, I've got one book out. Brandon Sanderson, has got his own channel that he does, and he's written 6 books in the time we've been talking so far. Like, what could I possibly do? So he put that in my head, and it took 2.5 years before I did launch a channel. Before I decided to talk about tabletop role-playing games, because it's like, I can drone on and on endlessly about this subject.
Yeah.
With an air of authority.
Yeah.
Versus like, you're just a little nobody author. Who wants to listen to you? Versus like, no, guys, I can talk about gaming. So there is that, you find that topic that you feel that you can go on and on about with some measure of authority.
Yeah.
Of what you're talking about, and you're not going to run out of topics after the 3rd episode.
Right.
But then I didn't think about self-promotion, which was the whole point. So that's why I almost never mention it's like, oh yeah, I made this whole channel to tell people I write books, and then I never tell anybody I write books. So because I'm shy and I don't want to self-promote and bother anybody. No. So,
well, everybody, Seth writes books. Just so you know. There, I self-promoted for you.
Thank you. But that's not self-promotion. That's shame promotion. I shamed you into feeling sorry for me.
And I'm shaming you because you're not self-promoting.
Pity promotion and pity sex. It's my expertise is.
So I'm sure
triple specialized.
I can see the upload right now. Is this kid appropriate? No. No. Can I make it go far left? Oh, I'm sure you probably have said it and asked a couple of times, but when you did the first couple videos, was it just you in front of the camera talking about something, or did you incorporate the skits right away into that?
The skits took a while. The first one was, I had an idea for a future video one day I would get to where I was going to do the post-apocalyptic Cthulhu game, and I wanted to like start talking about it, then have like a big fireball, then like, because I was really into a post-apocalyptic costuming at the time.
Okay.
So I actually owned like, breastplates made out of spent brass, like motorcycle jackets with the sleeves cut off and replaced the chainmail and all. I was like, I owned all that. So I was like, well, I need a green screen. And so I started the channel in November. December's rolling around. Amazon's got all its sales.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm going to buy a green screen because there's Christmas sales. And, there's that thing where it's like, if you spend $1 more, you add 5 more square feet.
Yep.
You're like, okay. It's like, well, if you spend $1 more, we'll add 10 more square feet. Like,
okay.
If you spend $1 more. So the end of the story is that the green screen that I bought is big enough that it actually extends from my ceiling where I mount it down to my ankles, loops back up.
Oh my God.
And then connects through the same hooks. And since it loops, I actually just keep like rods in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It is big enough to sail a ship by. And
Good
it cost
Lord.
me because I didn't bother measuring. And
who does? I know what 8 feet by 5 is.
And I spent like $20 on this green screen. So at the time, my channel on an upload day, when you make the biggest bank, would make about 3 cents.
Right.
And so then I'm doing the math of like, okay, so at this rate, it'll take me about 5 years to pay off this $20 green screen. I need to come up with a second use for it. So
sail a ship. Okay.
So then I was going to do the Call of Cthulhu, The Haunting.
Yeah.
And I decided let me bring up this NPC that I use to help teach them how to do investigative games. So I grabbed a suit out of my closet and one of my fedoras, and that was like the first Jack one. And it was meant to be a one-time thing.
Sure.
And, so then I did a couple other reviews and say, it's kind of fun to have that. Like doing the little costume and the backdrop. So I kind of kept doing it. But it took a bit before I kind of had to admit that this was a shtick I did.
Okay.
And then with the players around the table, I was doing a video on what I call the 13th Warrior, which is the theme game where a player refuses to get involved. And I wanted to do a recreation of the joke that my players and I have done since like 2001 or so, of the idea of, Michael Crichton trying to pitch this Viking game. And then you've got that one dumbass player is like, well, I'll be an Arab poet with a jumping horse.
Yeah.
Because that was our joke that we did. So at the time my hair was long, so just let my hair down, put on a baseball cap backwards, grabbed an old Ramones shirt, and I stole the voice from one of my players' characters. I had a half-orc barbarian named Dante. And Dante was such a riot. So I decided to just do that. And I didn't even name him for a long time. And then I was like, this is a fun shtick. I'll use this. Then I needed 2 more characters around the table to talk to. And at no point were they built with the intention of, I'm going to do this a second time. It was like, I'm going to do this once. And then it became, well, I've got another use for them. I've got another use. And they kind of grew from there. But all of them were kind of born out of this necessity or boredom and then stuck around. I love to say I had a plan.
Oh, yeah.
No, I spent $20 on the world's biggest green screen and needed to justify why
There was your plan. That was your plan.
Well, I mean, of course, you've got others. And, speaking of a plan, so the Gygax thing, that kind of came out of left field, which, that was, I mean, just when that came on, and I'm sure everyone had the same effect, but it's like, oh, this will be interesting. And just, I never laughed so hard because it's not only is it funny, but there's that you have that shared knowledge that you have sometimes that makes it more funny. It's like, he's doing it. That's California Gary right there, man. And it's just like, and I assume that's got to be someone that a lot of people request, like the others. When are you going to bring the Gary back?
But I did in that recent voice story video. But well, and actually, I didn't intend on that being Gygax. I was like, well, I really think he should have a beard. Okay, well, what sort of hair do I give him? Because I've got multiple costumes I'm doing, and if I just use my own hair, it looks like me. So I need a hat or a wig.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, I've got that weird balding one because that sounds like kind of good for that guy. And it's like, well, glasses because he's a hack. It's like, wait, I'm just building Gygax again. Because those are the 3 parts. And
I mean, you're not wrong.
The original one came about, and I remember it. I was just kind of running through little stuff in my head, and it was literally opening up their fridge at the line, "It ain't got a butthole." Came to mind. And the whole rant about it ain't got room for liver, no lungs, no intestines, so when it eats you, it's got nowhere to poop you out of, it's got to poop right back out its mouth. And that struck me while I was like digging for like a frozen burrito or something. And so the whole skit came about because I did in my head, like, where does a beholder hold its guts?
Well, the saving grace, though, of it, of course, is, if you hear Gary Gygax talk, he doesn't talk like that. But your Gygax, he sounds like the conspiracy theorist meth head friend you had, for years. It's like, knock, knock. Who is it? It's Scott. Hey, man, you can't be too careful. What's my middle name? I don't know. All right. What's my last name? It's like, let me in, Bob. Did you get it? I'm sure you must have. Did you get some negative feedback from that after,
Amazingly, no.
Okay, really? That's cool.
I was expecting straight up death threats.
Some OSR freaky freaks. Yeah.
I will say the one that got me the most is so Dan, Professor Dungeon Master.
Right.
He had reached out to me once, and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing a video on a temple or Tomb of Horrors, and I was wondering if I could just use you for like a little bit of that little Gygax shtick." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, sure, whatever," because that's a problem for future me. And like, so 9 months later, he reaches out. He's all like, "Hey, I'm finally ready to do that video. Could I get you just to do your Gary shtick talking about the Tomb of Horrors for like maybe 30 seconds or so?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no problem. Anything for you, brother. What do you want me to say?" He's like, "Whatever." I'm like, "Well, do you want me talking to the audience? Do you want me acting like I'm talking to the people?" He's like, "I think it'd be good if you're like talking to the people around the table." Like, "Okay, but nothing in particular you want me to hit on?" He's like, "Oh, no, I trust you, whatever." So I'm like, "Well, crap, I don't know what to do."
Well, that was his first mistake.
So I set up the camera and I just went. And the only thing I wrote down was the name Susie Merkelwitz. Because I wanted to talk about when you go through this thing, you pop out naked, and you don't want to go back to town to get your clothes because Susie Merkelwitz, you had a crush on in 8th grade, will see you, and she's going to see you naked, know that you're not packed that much, so you go back in the tomb to get your pants. And so the only thing I wrote down was that. And I did 2 takes. They were each 2.5 minutes long.
Okay.
And the first take, I started off by coming up from the big snort, and the bald wig actually had slipped back for the force. and it looked kind of just wonky. And that was the more crude one.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to adjust it. I probably need to like be less vulgar.
Yeah.
And I did it again. But at that point, I've been in this room because it was in summer. And my house still gets hot during the day, and the cheap double-sided tape that's holding the beard on has all let go. So the second one, the beard is actually stationary, and my mouth is just moving.
Oh my God.
Behind it. And I went for 2.5 minutes, and I green screened the background on it.
Yeah.
I did some, I sent some extra background slides and some instructions on how to get the right sepia tone. I sent it off to Dan, like, "Hey man, just edit that down however you want." But I was also expecting him to come back like, "Dude, I cannot put this on my channel. What the hell? Like I can't do it." And he's like, "No, it's great." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Oh, no, it's great." So when he released that video, he used the entire 2.5 minute take.
Everything.
He used everything.
He never watched it, did he?
Oh,
he did. And then following that, he has Luke Gygax on. And I'm like,
wait, what?
Dan, did you put a 2.5 minute video of me portraying Gary Gygax as this coke-fueled madman and then follow that with the man's actual son? You dick! Why you did this to me?
And
I wanted to melt.
And if you've seen Luke Gygax in person or a picture of him,
Pecs the side, huge pectoral muscles.
Huge pectorals. Just, he's fireman or ex-fireman. He's just, he's built to carry and break people.
Yeah. Real nice guy.
Oh, as far as you know.
Well, no, he was at ChaosiumCon last year.
No, I was joking about good to meet you, Seth.
No,
you walk away slowly, but no, I'm sure he's. The story goes he was there for all of that nonsense too when he was younger. But I'm sure he's obviously has heard a lot worse. But this is lighthearted fun. But still, I understand about oh, that's Luke.
Yeah.
Oh,
hi. I do wish I had like a camera recording of like certain people's faces, like Dan's face. And I'm like, hey man, he's like, send me a 30-second clip, and it's like 2.5 minutes, one take. and I am just trying to channel as crazy as I can, and like I want to know what the hell his face looked like. And this, I don't think I want to know what Luke's face looked like. It was like, oh my God, dude, you didn't warn me. I wouldn't. Oh.
So he's there. He's looking at all the comments people were saying about, the 50th anniversary, and they're talking shit on their dad like they do. And he's like, well, maybe I'll watch Professor DM. He'll have some nice things to say about my dad. Hey, man. 2.5 minutes long.
Womp womp.
No, Luke was in the video. Oh yeah. Oh.
Wow.
It was funny though. It was great fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes think about the things people have their opinions. There's no avoiding it. But at times when I see some of the things that are said, that it's like, remember, this is his son and that's his dad. This is not some name on a book.
Right.
So, but. Yeah, I'm sure, but he takes it in stride. I've never really seen anything, come back. But still, it's not easy, I would imagine.
But I'm sure it's never easy.
Yeah.
But I would imagine being his son in all of these years, he's had to deal with that all of his life. So he's learned to compartmentalize and
I also think
and deal with it.
I mean, but he was an adult before we had the rise of the internet and Twitter.
Yeah.
And people who just reach out and be a jerk to you anonymously and by the thousands.
There's that.
So, but yeah. Well, I think we might need to, take a little break here because the AA batteries are going to run out soon.
Fair enough.
I told you it's going to be an hour.
Yep.
And then we got our game. You got a game coming up, right? What are you playing in?
My Little Shuggoth. We're going to play My Little Pony Investigators, who are going to be investigating some sort of supernatural event.
Shut up.
Damn right.
Man.
I waited a long time to register for the game, so I only got what was left. So there's we're going to be adorable pony investigators.
Well. Oh, and this wonderful person, she's whoever's running is like, well, it's not full yet. Well, someone signed up. Is that? Oh,
and I will have a beautiful mane and a swishy tail. I hope I'm named.
I want to hear all the stories.
I hope I'm named something like Raindrops Sparkle.
I want you
before I peel my face off in madness.
When it's all said and done, I want you to go, thank you, that was fun. You do know I can review this now because I played it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a Jack costume for it.
Oh, Jack.
Brony Jack.
Like, that would be...
With a swishy tail and a mane.
You heard him, right? He said, I would have to do. And he didn't say I have to go buy a costume.
I know. I caught that.
Don't judge my life.
Hey, we're not judging.
Not at all.
We're not publicly judging. So...
All right. Well, let's cut it loose, and we'll, check back in some other time. We'll talk to some other people or have Mr. Seth back. You're here. We're here for 4 nights. Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we want to set this up again. But yeah.
All right. Let's roll out.
Bye.